Alright, Shalom, Mr. Brother Malak, coming back at you with this truth. First and foremost, I want to start off by giving all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Harakah Kwadash, and double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone of well, peace and blessings and salutation to the hopeful elect, the Bayat, Dawadah, the house of David. Alright, so let's go into it. Let's do this here. Right? Let's go into a few videos here. Let's start with this one first.
What is a data center? A data center houses rows of computers and equipment for storing, processing, and transmitting data. They typically have few windows and extra security, including cameras and sometimes biometric screening. The computers need a lot of electricity to operate and to keep the equipment from overheating. That also requires more electricity and huge amounts of water for elaborate air conditioning. The International Energy Agency says one large data center uses the same amount of electricity as it takes to power 400,000 electric cars. Tech companies are increasingly using their data centers to train and operate artificial intelligence systems. Training an AI model to learn from huge amounts of data requires additional computing power. Conventional data center services run on processors known as CPUs. AI relies on graphics processing units, or GPUs. The IEA estimates that asking OpenAI's ChatGPT to compose an answer requires nearly 10 times as much electricity as a traditional Google search. Amazon, Microsoft, and Google have all announced plans to tap into nuclear energy to help power their U.S. data centers.
See, as you can see right there, the radiation images right there, right? Because all the data centers is nothing but high radiation, right? See, frequencies. Your body is the frequencies, all right? Wave frequencies, and things of that nature, right? Data centers, right? All they do is store data in there, right? With things that you looked up on your phone, things that things of this nature, Google searches and all of these things like that stored into a database center, track and control tracing, pretty much, okay?
They've also helped finance new wind and solar farms and other alternative energy sources. In the near term, however, most data centers are still heavily reliant on the surrounding electricity grid, which is largely powered by burning fossil fuels, the primary cause of global warming. This is making it harder for some countries and tech companies to keep their promises to address climate change.
All right, so let's go into this next video. This is exposing.
Giant warehouses are popping up.
Right, so it says exposing the dark side of America's AI data centers, right? I'm not going to play a lot of this because this is pretty much a long video. I'm going to play some of it, all right?
Across the US, more than 2 every week. They feed AI algorithms, store photos, and answer our questions.
Hey Google.
A data center campus like this can consume as much power and water as an entire city. And many of the biggest server farms are emerging from the desert. But there's no official record of how many of these are being built, where they are, or even who owns them.
To be honest, I've never really run into so much resistance for records than this project.
Big tech companies often go to great lengths to hide the details. So we decided to build a map.
What we designed is a system.
You see? So they wanted to try to keep these things hidden away, because data centers is nothing but what you call high radiation. All right, at an all-time high, ionizing radiation at an all-time high. Now, when you go and add those microchips into it, right, which is the physical microchips, the MOTB, the mark of the beast, and you add them into humans, people, right? You see? That ionizing radiation, that high frequency of radiation can burn your body, burn your skin. Henceforth causing what? Cancerous tumors, ulcers, so on and so forth, right? See? So this is how these things will be ran off. 6G is a high frequency radiation. 6th generation, 5G, a high frequency, another high frequency radiation, but 6G being the most high frequency of radiation. right, which was created by DARPA, right, which is nothing but direct energy weapons. That's what they refer to them as, direct energy weapons, okay, because they're weapons, all right? You see? So let's continue on here.
To see not only the individual location of each data center across the country, but also where they cluster.
And for some, these clusters are appearing too close to home. We went to meet people who say having data centers next door is affecting their health.
I had a hard time breathing, I couldn't sleep. I thought I was losing my mind.
Summertime is more of a during the winter it's like
All right, and then first and foremost, living next to these data centers, right? Okay, henceforth, why people had, going back to that Ovid, you know, the Ovid 19, you know, and things of that nature, why people were getting sick, right, off of radiation. That's the reason behind it, SARS, right? Let me show you something real quick. Let's go here. Matter of fact, let's go here, right? So it says, let's get back in here. RF exposure, right, which is radio frequency, right? Exposure, right? So it says the word SARS, and henceforth the word SARS came out years ago. All right, about 5 years ago, going back when that whole pandemic was going on. All right, so the word SARS means specific exhaustion radiation. Add the S onto it, it means syndrome. All right, so let's read this. It refers to the rate which the body absorbs radiation frequency energy. It says the SAR limit is 1.6 watts per kilogram in countries that set the limit averaged over 1 gram of tissue, or 2 watts per kilogram in countries that set the limit averaged over 10 grams of tissue. During testing, iPhone radios are set to the highest transmission levels and placed in positions that simulate uses against the head, with no separation, and when worn or carried against the torso or the body within 5 millimeters separation. Right, so that's why you ain't supposed to be wearing nothing wireless, man. All right? They ain't nothing but doing but frying your damn brain. It's frying you, it's cooking you. All right? You're being cooked. Okay? That's why all that wireless madness is it's all madness. It's nothing but high radiation. All right? You see? It says, and I'll just read the rest of it here. It says to reduce exposure to radio frequency energy, use a hands-free option such as a built-in speakerphone, headphones, or wire headphones, not wireless but wire, okay, or other similar accessories. It says cases with metal parts may change the RF performance of the device, including its RF exposure guidelines, right? It says in manner that has not been tested or certified. See that? All right. So let's go back in here. Right?
almost like an engine trying to start.
So how many data centers are there in the US? And is there enough power and water to satisfy a building boom that is only just getting started?
Where I am standing now is at the middle of the data center capital of the world. This is Loudoun County, Virginia, otherwise known as Data Center Alley. And it may not look like much from down here, but just take a look from up above.
These are Amazon data centers. Zoom out and you can see tech companies tend to build data centers in clusters, where there is a reliable power supply, access to enough water, as well as tax breaks and affordable land. But of course, these tend to also be places where lots of people already live. like Santa Clara County, California, or the most heavily populated part of Arizona.
Now, like I mentioned before, those 5G and 6G towers, with 6G means sixth generation, 5G means five generation, right? All those towers are nothing but high direct energy weapons, right? And that was all set up doing what? Going back to Ovid, all right, Ovid 1.9, right? So you had henceforth, with the word means, it means certificate of vaccination identification, 19 meaning AI, right? You switch the 9 the other way, right? You put the 1 the other way as AI, all right? That's what that means, okay? So henceforth, when they started bringing up all these things, henceforth bringing in all these data centers and so on and so on and so forth, right, down in Texas, right? And I think it's a rural area down in Texas where they're building up that Stargate, right? Well, Stargate was in the midst of the last time when Nero 47 had, I think it was his first term, we had introduced a thing about Stargate. And in the second term, he came around speaking about it, AI Open Oracle, right? AI Open Oracle. See, so the word oracle, right? When we go into the scriptures, the word oracle meaning we're speaking divine things. So what they're saying is that they have a righteous, that this is righteous. This is what they're saying, right? That this is righteous. That they're speaking in righteousness through these, but it's all wickedness. It's all wickedness, left-hand miracles. Right? Ain't nothing in righteousness about this thing. Henceforth, why they want to bring in a technocratical world, totalitarian, authoritarian government, right? Ran by robotics, ran by 6G, 5G, all right? Internet of Things, Internet of Everything, Internet of Banking, CBDC, central bank digital currencies, credit scores, right? Henceforth, slavery, servitude. All right, Goyim. You see? Let's play a little bit more of this here.
Maricopa County. And of course, here in Northern Virginia, the most densely populated part of the Washington, D.C. metro area, and one of the largest and fastest growing residential areas in the US.
Yeah, I mean, I was the fourth homeowner in this neighborhood, fourth to occupy a house in this neighborhood.
Donna Gallant has lived on this street in Prince William County, Northern Virginia, for the last 30 years. All very peaceful until 2021, when things started to change. These are Google data centers, and ever since they started rising from the ground, Donna has been looking for answers.
There's no transparency, and
With the data center companies or with local authorities?
All right, so you brothers can go, play some more of this, if you want. I just wanted to get a little bit in there, but I want to get on to this video because I didn't want to make it super long. So let's just jump right into this here, right? Let's get up out of here. All right, let's go over here to some things, right? So you got 6G, right? Which is the coming thing, which they say, 2030 is 6G is coming. No. It's going to be here before 2030. All right, it'll be here before 2030. Okay, so you got terahertz communication, right? So this is 6G smart cities enabling technologies, right? And then we talk about the smart cities, right? Internet of everything, Internet of things, right? See? Hooked up to a 15-minute smart city. That's henceforth what they want. They want to chip you, hook you up to a 15-minute smart city, right? Everything being ran by robotics, AI, a technocratical world, right? Technology, high frequencies of radiation, right? So it says optical wireless, right? Massive mono IRS, right? Cell-free communication, artificial intelligence, unarmed aerial vehicles, right? Drones. You see, Gideon, AI, Palantir. All right. It says mobile edge and computing, blockchain, right? Henceforth is going to be with what? Those microchips, those RFID microchips. That's what's going to be the blockchain. I did a breakdown on the blockchain, man. They store nothing but information into those blockchains. Like henceforth, it would be your spending, your medical records, everything is all stored into those blockchains, right? It says quantum communications, right? In AR and VR, right? So as you can see in the middle, like I said, 6G smart cities enabling technologies. Okay, so let's go over here, right? So it says 6G, which is all connected, because this is what we're getting into. The 5G, they're getting ready to phase that out. All right, they're saying by 2030, it's going to be before 2030. They're going to phase in this new 6G thing. Right now, the 5G towers is already up still, which is nothing but high frequency radiation. That's why everybody got sick. Radiation, right? Frequencies of your body. All right, because your body is made up of you got frequencies and things and waves and you see things like this, man. All right, it says massive I/O support, right, which is Internet of Things, accurate sensing, right? Right, accurate, right, acute what it says, acute, what is it, localization, advanced connective, advanced computing, right, connectivity, terahertz, communication, very high data rates, and extremely low latency, right, ubiquitous connectivity, right. It says physical technologies, full duplex communication, advanced channel estimation, intelligent surfaces, right? Artificial intelligence, AI empowered automated systems, distributed learning models, big data, analytics, and edge AI. It says energy efficient, low power communications, energy harvesting, right? And energy efficient computing. You see? So now let's go over to here, right? Like I always read this here. I got two of them. I'm gonna bring this one out first. Matter of fact, let's bring this one out first. All right, and number 11 right here is the one that I'm getting at, right? So it says sustainable cities and communities, right? Make cities safe and sustainable. It says move everyone into a smart city with the social credit score system, right? It says everything connected via blockchain, 5G, 6G, ionizing radiation. This is what I spoke about on my last video, right? But see, he's so going to suppress my videos, all right? He's going to suppress my video. My whole channel is suppressed, and I already know it, okay? But that's okay. I'm going to continue to still push the truth. Doesn't matter how much suppression it is. All right, they can't suppress the truth. The truth is already out there. But this is what it is. It says move everyone into smart cities with the social credit score, a score system, right? Henceforth, with their new, how can I say, this new algorithm, right? This new algorithm that YouTube uses. They suppress certain channels. We're bringing out full 100% truth. All right, they suppress channels. Okay, and that's what they do. Henceforth, on your speech, censorship. All right. So I just wanted to bring that. That was a little side note. It says everything connected via blockchain, 5G, 6G, IoT, Internet of Things, IOB, Internet of Banking, and AI, artificial intelligence. It says consistent surveillance and gun control. See that? Consistent surveillance and gun control, right? Palantir, Gideon scrapes the internet 24/7, right? Ran by a tiny top state. Ran by the tiny top state. All right, Palantir, which is the first Palantir, was the Total Information's Awareness Program, right? Okay, which was set up, right? And then the people came up against that, and they brought that down. But henceforth, they thought that they was real slick by bringing in another form of it, which was Palantir, right? Which is set up by DARPA. Right, because DARPA goes into how Facebook and Instagram came about, and many different other these platforms came about, which is all nothing but trace tracking and so on and so forth. Henceforth, why they want to shut down speech. All right, censorship on speeches, going against what they talking about the tiny tops, right? The tiny tops want total control. Henceforth, why they set up Narrow 47, right, to push off their legislation, right? Okay. Henceforth, you got this guy, what's his name, Ben, not Ben, right? Who's not? I don't want to go into that, man. Not Malakowski, all right? Malakowski. I'm just gonna say his name, his last name, all right? All right. Henceforth, why they want to bring in all these things of censorship, right? Shutting people down. Speaking about the JOOs, all right? Tiny toppers. All right. So let's go over here. All right. Let's go back over here. So it says, let's read this. Let's read all of this here. 16, because I always read this in every video. Pretty much every video I bring a lot of these. I bring these out. I bring this out. You know, their UN 2030 agenda, right? Which is going to be before 2030. All right, these devils are moving quick. See, their agenda is going to be before 20. But guess what? The Most High is going. Yahweh Bashim Yahushua is going to take this thing down, man.